Okay, here's part 3 of the news roundup. Gas prices are spiking in Australia after big strikes at 2 of the largest facilities. I think we'll just see more and more of this. People are unable to afford to live. It must be quite galling to work in a supermarket where you can't afford to shop, or work in a gas facility where you can't afford to buy gas. You know, it just sucks. It sucks. No amount of spin will change the outcome of Ukraine's last gasp failed offensive. This is from a former US Army officer talking about how high hope was and how it has just failed. And then we did actually get another bit of info through Western media about this offensive. Good old Sean Bell, the absolute doddering old fool that he is, talking about the appearance of Strykers, Marder and first signs of Challenger 2s on the battlefield, talking about how this essentially means that the best of the Ukrainian defences have been deployed, and yet there is no advancement, no movement to the front line, no breakthrough. It's just a complete washout. Belarus denounces agreement with Ukraine on Defence Industry Corporation, and this was signed in Minsk on December the 16th, 1994, and again in 2003, and has now been turned back on by Belarus. This essentially means that Ukraine's Western puppets are on 3 sides now, surrounded by hostility. There was also a report, it was quite sad really, it was the Belarusians basically saying, look, we just want to have a positive relationship with Poland, and the Poles basically, again, pushing for war. This has seemed to me to be the case for a very long time, and I do hope that the Polish people can wake up and see this, because not only are they being pushed into a war they cannot win again, they are also pushing the West into a war that we cannot win either. And I hope that the people of Poland act as the first kind of stopgap against this. I know that there's been some issues with campaign pledges from the Polish government, basically saying that they are again going to stand firm against the EU migration laws. They're not going to allow the EU to dictate who they should let into their country, and I think it shows that the Poland does actually have some balls when it comes to standing up against the West. It would be great if you could use it in this war, because if you allow Ukraine's worst people to become your people, it's going to spread. It's just going to spread west again. And last time that happened in World War II, again, because Poland, it's just going to be devastating to all of us, not least Poland. So I really, really hope that people look into this and realise what's going on. UAE and India are making all oil settlements in their local currencies now. I still think that this puts India at great risk. I think that it would have been far better if India had swallowed its pride and worked with BRICS, because the second that this becomes, an enticing option, they will be made an example of by America. I've no doubt about that. US is preparing a new pandemic. Yep. And we spoke about this in an earlier video. Global wealth to grow by 38%. That's huge by 2027. And none of that's to do with the West. Let's face it. We are all poorer, and global wealth is simply going into lots of other countries, not ours. This shows very clearly that the fall of the West is not something that is being copied throughout the world, not at all. Saudi treasury holdings dipped to lowest since 2016 as essentially foreign sponsors just sell off billions and billions of American treasury bonds. And who's buying them? Who do you think? Japan and the UK were among the biggest buyers of what's widely perceived as one of the safest assets to own. Unreal. This is gambling with our money. because those treasury bonds are soon to be worth nothing. We know this. I do not understand why we're doing this. Why do we have idiots running our country? This is such a threat, and nobody even knows about it. I am livid. Argentina's peso to slide 70% by next year, suggesting the worst is yet to come. At what point does Argentina say, you overthrew our democratically elected government, you caused many years horrendous war in our country, we're no longer paying back the IMF and the World Bank, America, get out of our policies, get out of our finances and get out of our country? Because honestly, if I was leading Argentina, that's exactly what I would say. But if I was leading the EU, I'd say the same thing about Nord Stream. You know, these guys have been involved in, and by these guys I mean the Americans, have been involved in terrorist activities on our borders connected to our national security and our national interests. They need to go home. Nobody should be paying these people back. That's the reality. Yeah, you don't have someone who you owe a fiver to robbing your house and then pay them back their fiver, do you? So why are we carrying on with this ridiculous notion that we need to pay America back for anything? We paid repatriations for the Second World War for years and years and years. For what? Because the Americans went and took all the Nazi soldiers and all of the, not soldiers, colonels and generals and all of the scientists and military officials, made NATO, made NASA, and carried on Naziing around the world. That's what we've paid back, is it? Yeah, the fact that the Americans came in and made absolutely definitely sure that the Soviet Union couldn't destroy the Nazis on the Eastern Front, spread them all westward and let them fucking carry on around the world. It makes me absolutely livid, beyond anything I can ever say, that countries pay these people back. They deserve nothing. Nothing. Oh man, this never happens to me. The Bank of Ireland has made a mistake and allowed everyone to withdraw loads of euros that they don't actually have. People have been withdrawing thousands of euros that they don't actually have in their bank. I would be right on that, mate. Sorry, but I would. Like, that would be in my hands, and it would go on sorting out the solar for the back garden, buying some wood in for the winter, and then they could come and slap me on the wrist later if they want. I'm so beyond any of this kind of fake money shit anymore. There is new video footage that confirms Armenian MOD reports of Azerbaijan firing at EU observers, getting tense between those two. There was a big internet blackout in Brazil. Interested to know why, but it was an energy blackout that caused the internet to go down in a massive way. So just wonder what happened in that period, I suppose. Disabled mum dragged and arrested for TV licence non-payment. This is just horrendous. And this woman was, arrested for this tax that we have on watching TV. Darling, do yourself a favour. Just get rid of your TV. Watch, programmes on Netflix and you won't miss it. Trust me. West Yorkshire Police says women are Barbie and men are Ken, and that they can change their gender. Just like to give a little rundown on other policies that West Yorkshire Police have put forward. This is their one of their women officers, and this man has been seen videos of him holding weapons in threatening ways, and he is considered, so he could do strip searches of 16-year-old girls in West Yorkshire. And they also arrested violently an autistic teenager in her own home for suggesting that this member of the West Yorkshire Police Service looked like a lesbian last week. So they are the weirdly woke West Yorkshire, and they've got such a bad reputation, West Yorkshire Police, grooming gangs, real issues with how they actually deal with matters that actually affect people. But when it comes to wokeism, they are right there. And I have no idea why. I don't know who is making these decisions, but it's pretty dreadful. All the teenager said, by the way, was she looks like a lesbian. Is lesbian a derogatory term? Because if it's not, that shouldn't be a problem, should it? It's just horrendous what they've done. EU launches first Bitcoin ETF in clown world. Money means nothing nonsense. I fail to get worked up about this. We are going to see digital currencies. We are going to see money becoming digital. And I think that we all just need to kind of get on with it and make sure actually that the policies around those decisions don't directly impact our lives. That's the end of part 3 It looks like there's going to be a part 4.